anything like that. Or, you know, it's just not very, very bright. Okay, so that's our film canister. This is HP5. Okay, so HP5 Plus. In fact, it's a new version, but it's, when I say new, I mean it's like 20 years, 30 years. It's new, you know. So it's not. So when you're dealing with film, it's HP5 Plus. Okay, this is a 400 ASA film, so 400 ISO. That's why we were setting the ISO setting on the light meter to 400. So it's quite sensitive to light. As far as film goes, it's actually quite sensitive. So therefore, you can usually use it in low light situations. It's not particularly sharp. So if you remember, I put up the two pictures, one of the Festival Hall and one of the Barcelona Bridge. This is the film that did the Barcelona Bridge. So it's quite grainy, but it's quite forgiving. So if you've got all the settings wrong on the light meter, you still usually get some kind of shot out of it. There'll be some sort of photograph. Other films like this one, which is FP4, that's an Ilford film as well. This is 125 ASA or ISO, so it's less sensitive to light. So you need more light to be able to get an image, and so the images are sharper. So this is the Festival Hall image, and it's not as forgiving. So if the settings are wrong, it usually is usually quite a bad photograph. So let's get these bits out. Essentially, this canister just here is made up of 4 things. So you've got the actual case itself. There's a lid or 2 lids either side. There's a spool, and then of course the film wrapped around the spool. So if we take that apart, we take it's like opening a can of beans basically. Just take the lid off, and inside you'll have the spool with the film rolled around it, and then you're just left with an empty case. So that's what we're going to be doing, but of course we don't do that in the light. We try to have to do that all in the dark. So what we have to do is we have to get the film out of there, and to do that, as I say, we just open it up like a can, like this, and take the top off, and then pull the film out. We do that all. You can do that in darkness. You can do it out in the open here, as long as it's all completely pitch black here. But just for added security, just in case somebody opens the door or anything like that, we turn the lights to red, which is still sensitive. The film is still sensitive to the red light, but because it's much darker, we get away with using this case here. Sometimes you'll see some dark rooms use film bags, so you can change your film over in a bag. So if you're out in a field or something like that and you want to take a film out of the camera, you can do that actually in the field itself. So like that. This is all it is. I feel like a magician, you know, an empty box. Okay, I'll pull a rabbit out in a minute. And in that box, we're going to put one of these. So this is a developing tank. Okay, that's what they call a developing tank. Inside the developing tank, we have a spool. Sorry, these are spools which go onto a spine, like so. We put 2 of them on there. We don't do that because we're developing 2 films. We do that to stop this one from sliding up. Okay, so that stops that from sliding up. That goes into the tank. The lid goes in like so and locks in place. So when we're filling up the amount of liquid, we're only filling it up to about there. So that's why it's important that spool is kept downwards, because if it's rising up, then it's not in the liquid anymore. Now here comes the tricky bit. Because we need to get the film from this onto this without looking. Okay, so you have to do that in the dark. So you can see out here, but you've got to feed it into, basically, you can see there's like a little gateway there, which basically is a big spiral. So it just feeds the film in and just spirals it all the way into the center. So we can take a film like this one, for example. Can you pass me the scissors, please? Thank you. So we will have a film. When we take the film out of the camera, it will have what's called a little leader. A leader on it, which looks like that. So the film will be cut like that. That's so you can put it into the camera. But that's pointless in terms of this point, putting it onto the spool. It won't get caught off. So we have to take that off, either by cutting it or ripping it. And then to make things easier, so I'll do it at this end here, we then cut the corners by 45 degrees. so it just creates a little sort of bevel to go in without looking at it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
more difficult in the dark.
You've got to do that without seeing what you're doing. So cutting the 45 degree is a nightmare. So we feed the film. You see the little gateway just there. Okay, so that just goes into there. And you see the two little ball bearings.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ball bearings grab hold of these holes along here. So once we feed the film in here, it might be tricky to do this because it's a bit curved, this film. So let's see what we can do. There we go. So feed it in, past the ball bearings, and then the ball bearings grab the film, and see it's coming out again already because it's curved. But they grab it through and then pull it round and round and round. And you have to do that all the way until that comes through. The problem is this is relatively straight film because it's dried out, so it's been hanging like so. The film you're going to be putting onto a spool, it's been wrapped up in the film, so it's going to be like really tightly coiled. It's going to, so you're going to have to keep like pulling it out, thread it in, pull it out, thread it in, and so on. So I'm going to do this one. You haven't got to do this one. I will do this one, but you will do one at some point. What I'll do is, in fact, I will find. We'll keep this one. I'll sacrifice a film that will be in a case that will be tightly curled up, so you can practice putting that onto the spool. So we're going to put this film onto this spool. So I'll make sure everything's in now. So I need the case, the tank, the spool on the spine, the spare spool, the lid, and then the film opener. Okay, the case opener. So that's what it looks like. You can have a look quickly. So I've got everything laid out. I know it's important I know where everything is.
Yeah.
So because I'm doing this all by feel.
This is so bad.
And it's also good like to remember the position of the beginning of the spirals to...
Certainly which way it is. Yeah. Which way up. Absolutely.
You need this out in a minute.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, in a minute. So I get it out. So the reason I'm putting that there is just, well, it's just in nice and tidy. Basically. Okay, so if we turn the lights to red, please. Okay, right. So first thing first, grab the film, find the can opener.
Does that door need to be closed?
No, that's fine. There won't, not much light will be getting into it. If we were doing paper stuff, then yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I've taken the lid off. And it's super tightly coiled up. So I'm just ripping the leader off now. I'm not going to bother with the 45 degree angle. What the danger of that is that it may well get caught occasionally, and you might have to then unthread it and thread it back in again. Right, so I'm finding the gateway. That's in. Okay. So what you might have to do is say it's all coiled up around that spool thing that was in the film case. So you might have to keep just stretching it out a little bit and pulling it out from that. So it feels like it's getting to the end of the film, but it's not actually because it's still coiled up. Obviously, because it's rubbing against the plastic spool, the further in to the centre it gets, the more and more friction you're going to get, and the tighter it will get and the tougher it will get. Okay, so that's actually gone in on it as it should have done. So I've put the spool in the tank, put the extra spool on top to lock it in place, put the lid on, and then lock it in place. Okay, so that's in. We can turn the lights back to white again. So that's what's left. That's the leader I just ripped off. So it's just neat and tidy. That's the spool with the rest of the film left on it. So again, that's where I ripped it off. The lid, and somewhere there's the case as well. So that's all that's left over from the film. So now we don't need the case anymore, this box anymore. So we can put this to one side. Okay, right. So this is the important bit. This is where I wish you'd had your notebooks with you, because this is the kind of the whole process. So we've got a three-stage chemical process here. We have developer, stop, and fix. The developer is a use once chemical, so we use it once and then tip it away. We tip it away into these bucket things over here. We mix up developer to a particular ratio, so 1 part developer, and then I think it's 9 parts. Is it 9 parts? Yeah, 9 parts water. The temperature of that solution is critical. So if it's everything that you do within photography, I have many arguments with my wife because I say that room temperature is 20 degrees, and she thinks it's something like 5 degrees or something like that. So it's ridiculous. But so 20 degrees is recognised as room temperature. Okay, so when you want something at room temperature, it's 20 degrees, not 5. And so if this is 21 degrees, 22, then it'll be too hot. Now it'll still develop, but it will develop much more quickly. If it's less than 20 degrees, it will take longer to develop. And I'll show you, there's a chart which will be on Moodle as well, which basically you can just, this chart over here in fact, where if you know it's going to take 4 minutes at 20 degrees, if it's 17 degrees, you have to do it for 5.5 minutes instead. Okay, so these kind of lines will, so it's possible no matter what. One of the things that's difficult is to get cold water here. So if you're trying to bring the temperature down, because it's actually quite warm in here, but if you're trying to get the temperature down, then the cold water, because it's been in the building for ages, has warmed up. In the winter it's much easier, of course. But sometimes you might have to go and get some cold water from somewhere else, just from fridge or something like that, just to mix it. So on the bottom of these tanks, it shows you how much liquid you need, but basically you need 300 millilitres per film. So 300 or 600 depending if you're doing 1 film or 2 films. So 1 to 9 will be 30 millilitres of developer, and then 270 water. And we need to get that temperature to the temperature of the whole thing to as close as we can to 20 degrees. So we use this thermometer, and we can see that the temperature in here is 21 degrees. So that's not too bad actually. So room temperature would be, normally it's much hotter than that in here. So 21 degrees would be, so this presumably will be at 21 degrees because it's not been anywhere else apart from in this room. Water coming through the tap will be a different temperature, so we'll have to kind of see how we go with that. But let me just go and get some more of these beakers.
The what? Beakers?
The beakers.
So to measure 30 millilitres in this big tank thing here is going to be nigh on impossible. So this is brand new, it hasn't been used. This has to go back into the fridge because it will go off very quickly. Right, so 30 millilitres. Trying to do this as carefully as possible so it doesn't spill everywhere. Okay, so 30 millilitres. That's all we need. So we put that back, and then we need right, so what we do is we're going to mix 300 millilitres, which this is a 300 ml beaker, so we're going to fill it up to the top there. We need to work out what the temperature is on here first of all. It's gone up very slightly, going up. It's about 22 degrees, 21.5, 22 degrees. So we want it to be a little bit colder, the water. So I'm going to fill this with water, which hopefully will be around about 19 degrees or 20 degrees. Whatever you do, whenever you're using these tabs with these nozzles, they're almost like fireman hoses, okay, so they're quite powerful. Don't make the mistake of actually trying to turn the tap off that way, because it will just send water everywhere. Good grief, honestly. People leave me alone. Oh, that's ahead of school. Right, I'll have to decline that. Right, okay, so let's check the temperature of the water. Give it a while as well, because the thermometers aren't instant. They will climb down or climb up depending on what they're doing. So it's just above 20 degrees. So it's going to be near or nearabouts 20 degrees. So that's okay.
And
So,
how many degrees is required for like color film? Because it's way more difficult.
yeah, colour film you have to do in complete darkness. You can't have any light whatsoever for colour.
Even the red light?
No red light at all. Sorry, that's if you're doing the printing on the enlargers. For any film, you have to be in darkness, which is why we use the box and so on. But it's it depends on the film. So color process is much more complicated. We can't do color in here. It's only monochrome. So I'm just going to pour this into here, not because I want to use this particularly, but just to make sure we've washed out all the liquid that was in there, and then fill this up to 300 ml. Okay, so that's 300 milliliters, and that's our developer. You can see it looks quite oily. It's sort of like kind of like ghosts shimmering around inside there. And that'll give you an idea about what stop is for. So let's just make sure it's well mixed. Check the temperature again. 20 and a quarter, so that's pretty perfect. That'll do. Right, okay, so this is where you need to keep an eye on the time. So it's 12 minutes past. Is that right? That doesn't sound right to me. It sounds like it's wrong.
39.
39, okay. So keep an eye on that, because that might be, I think it's okay, but it seems to be going round. But the second hand is the most important thing. You just need to keep an eye, keep a handle on what, on how many minutes you are. So there's a chart called Massive Development Chart, a website, sorry, called Massive Development Chart, and it just lists all the films and all of the developers that you can use. So if you're using a different developer, your development time will be different. If you're using a different film, your development time will be different. If you're using, this consistently or a different temperature, your development time will be different. So on this particular website, you can put in and I'll put a link onto Moodle. You can put, it's called digitaltruth.com, okay? Digital Truth, photo, digitaltruth.com. So I've put in the film as being Ilford HP5, that thing there. The developer is FD10, which is photo speed FD10, and it's telling me it's going to take, for 35mm film or of any size film, it's 7 minutes at a dilution of 1:9. 400 ISO at 20 degrees, it's 7 minutes development time. Okay, so if it was too hot, we can come back over to our chart. I can find 7 minutes. It's kind of like in between 6 and 8 there. 7 minutes, and if it was too hot, we could say like 23 degrees. We're coming back to 5 minutes instead. So instead of 7 minutes, it's 5 minutes. So it's quite easy. Once you get used to using it, it's quite easy. So the film's in there. The developer's ready. We're ready to go. So let's wait till that gets to 9, so 1:45. We'll pour the developer into this top hole here, like so. Once you pour the liquid in, agitate it, just turn it around like that, for about 10 seconds, and then, the reason you're banging it on the side there, you don't have to be violent with it, you just have to just tap it, so any air bubbles which are attached to the film, just release. And then we wait until that comes around to 9 again, and we do the agitation again. So we do that for 7 minutes. So you won't want to stop filming now.
Is it 7 minutes or 5?
7 minutes, because we were still at 20 degrees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so 7 minutes, but yeah.
It would be less if it was warmer.
Yeah. That's it. So I'll do this one, and then you guys can do the next one. So it doesn't have to be bang on a minute, but we just need to keep it at a minute just so we kind of know where we are. So that's 1 minute, everyone, okay? So that'll do. So if you guys do the next one, again, when it gets round to 9, so we're going to get round to, this will be, let's make sure that the second hand the minute hand is moving, isn't it? Yeah, but when it gets round to 21, oh, you got it on there, okay? Okay, that's cool, that's fine. So if you do the next one when it's like on a minute, and I'll go and find out what the head of school wants, and I'll be back in a minute, okay? And I won't be too long. We've got to get, because what we can't do is just leave it in there, because then it's over-developing. Okay, it'll get darker and darker and darker. So I'll be back in time.
In case 7 minutes happens,
It
what do
won't,
we do?
it won't, it'll be fine.
Blind.
I promise.
Where's me, please?
Wait,
Huh?
9. Wait.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Do it.
You have no trust in me.
But in my school, we have something like to make the spiral roll.
For 10 seconds you should do that.
Yeah.
Every 10 seconds?
No.
No, for
Every
10
minute,
seconds.
4 times.
Okay.
Who is next? And then
Perhaps the chosen one.
Go in order.
When should I? When the second hits the 9.
why 9? He could have waited.
That's when he started.
He could wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Service. Your turn.
This is being 3?
3.
4 minutes left.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, for real. My brain is going with hardware.
My former office, they used to play music.
I'm really hoping that photo actually took earlier. Otherwise I'm gonna be embarrassed.
Pretty sure there is absolutely no picture.
I also think same.
Like, I pressed the button. I don't know what else to say.
Was it not for you? Howard gave it to us like that.
Yeah, this is cool.
He didn't even check that thing. He just gave it to us.
Don't know what else we were gonna do. We didn't talk.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I guess it's wrong. Five more seconds. That's it. No. I'm taking video.
You do it.
Someone take
No. I will take a.
Come on.
Come on,
Come and try.
come on, people.
Yeah.
Huh?
Give him the phone.
It's your turn.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
no,
almost
no. Damn it.
Team job another time.
This is a team effort.
Should be back in 1 minute.
It won't be our fault.
He can do it, right? You've done it before.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can just finish it up for us.
He said 7 minutes, right?
Now we
30 seconds.
Oh, there you go. Right, okay, so 30 seconds, let's tip this water away. So we need to work speedily here, because if you're dealing with something which is 30 minutes development time, then an extra minute is a fraction of that 30 minutes is not very long at all. But if it's 5 minutes, then an extra minute is a lot. You know, it's another substantial amount of development time. Okay. So if you're going to err on the side of, like, you know, quite sure if it's undeveloped or overdeveloped, it's better to overdevelop it slightly than underdevelop it. So we don't have to panic too much. We're going to tip that into here. So, and then this is the speedy bit. It's just pour the stop in. So the stop is this one here. It says stop on the front. Okay. And then same thing.
For 7 minutes?
Not 7 minutes, no. So stop, what stop does is exactly what it says. It just stops the development process. So should be just about enough space to put that in.
How much stop do we need?
Stop kills a developer.
No, like how much do we
Oh,
need?
how long? Around about a minute.
No, quantity.
Oh, quite same quantity.
300.
Same, yep, same. So all of it is the same. So that once they've stopped, put the stop in there, we can pause. So we can leave that in there for a day. It's absolutely fine. It's not doing anything else at that point. So we don't need to panic anymore. The timing one is all about the developer. Then we have this one, which is fix.
Oh, it smells so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, you've got lots of ammonia and all sorts of things going on in here. So fix is fixative. So if you've done any charcoal drawings or pastel drawings and you've sprayed fixative, same thing. Okay, it's not the same thing, but it does the same sort of thing. It's it makes the image permanent. So there's a great film that you need to watch called The Killing Fields, which is a horrible film, but it's there's quite an interesting bit where the guy's trying to escape. So he fakes his passport, manages to take a photograph, but doesn't have the chemicals to fix it. So then when the guards open it, it's just a blank photograph, kind of, a blank piece of paper. Again, because he hasn't been able to fix it. So that's what fix does. It actually makes the photograph kind of permanent. So both the stop and the fix go back again. We use that again and again and again. There's 2 litres of these, but you won't need that. You only need 300 millilitres. So that'll be fine. That will have stopped. Basically, we just need to make sure that that stop has got around all of the liquid and kill the developer. Pour that back into there. Ready to use again at some point. Now, if you come down here and you want to know, are these chemicals still in date? So we need to do this for 5 minutes. Okay, so the fix goes in there, same thing, agitating, like so. And then the stop can go back into here. So if you're wondering if anything's out of date, if this is purple, it's out of date. Okay, and it just it's beyond its life. If it's yellow, it's fine. Yeah, if it looks like a hospital sample, it's fine. If it looks like something you should be drinking in a night out, it's not fine.
So it's already mixed with water in the.
In those, yeah, they're already diluted. Yeah, they're ready to go.
And you can leave the stop in there for however long.
Same with fixed to a certain point as well. I mean, you wouldn't want to leave them in there for too long, like weeks and weeks, or whatever, because the emulsion that actually is photosensitive will start to lift off the plastic film, which can, you know, a lot of photographers use that to good effect. But you don't want to do that unintentionally. So the thing to do now we've got those done, we can wash all these out gently with a tap. Not that gentle. If you get any chemicals on your hands, unless you've got very sensitive skin, it's not going to kill you or anything like that. But we've got soap here, you can always get it off if you need to. And then dry towel there just to dry your hands. How long has that been? 2 minutes. God, it's dragging. So again, make sure you're agitating it around so that there are no air bubbles. So once we've concluded the fix, we put the fix back into, so I shouldn't have washed one of these up. Actually, we need to put the fix back into here, or we could put it straight back into there, but it's obviously sometimes it's difficult to get the liquid to go back in straight away. Once we've fixed it for 5 minutes, we then wash the film. So we're washing it for about 20 minutes, just to make sure there are no chemicals on it anymore. One of the things that's quite a danger when you're doing prints, a whole load of stuff I've thrown away here. Like that, for example. So that hasn't been washed properly. So what happens is it starts to discolor. Okay, so it can be quite a good effect if you wanted to do that, but if you didn't want to do it, it's unintentional. It's the same thing with it. If you've got chemicals on it still, then you know, there's a danger it will start to degrade quite quickly. So in fact, you probably only need about 2 minutes to fix a film, but it's always just better to be safe than sorry. Okay, with this, so 5 minutes would be better. What it's doing, essentially, let me use that bit there. If I put this, put this film into the fix, you see it's got a shiny side and a matte side. The matte side has got the emulsion on it. That's the photosensitive bit. The shiny side is just the plastic. So we put that into there. All it's doing is taking the emulsion off. So the developer turns the emulsion, so where the emulsion has been exposed to light, it will turn it black. So the silver particles in there, it will turn them black. When you put the fix in there, it washes the emulsion away and you're left with just the black particles, effectively, that have been turned, So you can see it's starting to go transparent. You can see that side better. So if you haven't fixed it long enough, what will happen is that you still have some emulsion on there. But you can see that's not even a minute and that starts to come away. So 2 minutes will usually be okay, 5 minutes just to be safe. So that's 5 minutes.
Okay.
You can see the different films as well, the different film types. So this one is quite a purpley film. Yeah, and then that film over there is quite a grey film. So different films will have different colours. Colour film will be brown. Okay, where are we at now?
Like 5-10 seconds.
darkroom photography is a patience. Okay? So you have to learn to be patient with it. Yeah, all good. Right, let's pull that back into there. Oh, see how purple it is? Okay, that's all the emulsion is taken off. It's coloured that. It's fine, it'll be fine, but it's we put that back into there and that pink will disappear at some point, but it shows you how kind of strong it is. Right, now what we'll do is we start to wash it. And all you have to do is just, again, not too violently, turn the tap on, and that just sits down in the top there. So by putting it in the top of that spout, what it does, it goes down inside that spool and up, around down through the spine, up through the spool and out the side. So it's basically washing through the film. And that's what we have to do for 20 minutes. Now I'm not going to make you sit here for 20 minutes. So we're going to speed this process up a little bit. Let's wash that for a little bit. So I'll give you another film for that camera in a minute and you can go around and do your shots this afternoon. Let's do that. So there's our film on the spool. There's not a lot on that. In fact, there's a whole lot of nothing on there. Okay, right, let me have a look at this. Okay, that's interesting. That's not the fault of you guys, because what you will see on the films here, if you've badly exposed something or something like that, there will be a blank space there, but there'll still be information on the bottom saying this is an Ilford film or this is a Kodak film. There's nothing on this. So there's something wrong with that developer. The developer hasn't developed it. And that's quite interesting because we just opened that. So I'll mix up some new developer. Good job it was just a test film. And that's what happens. So once, I don't know if I told you this, but I was doing a wedding and I mixed up the chemicals and I did the fix first of all, which took the emulsion off, and then did the developer. And so I had a film which looked exactly like this. And paid to do a wedding, and luckily I had another film which I could use as well, but I could take the photographs from, but yeah, I learned from my mistake on that one. Yeah, okay, so that's that. There's no point washing that, so we'll just chuck that away. Actually I will wash it because you can use that, that's the one you can use to practice feeding him, but we won't be protective of it. So that's it basically. Once we've done that, we are washing it for 20 minutes or so. It can't just be sitting in water as well, it actually has to be washing. And then after it's been doing that for 20 minutes, we then put it, we then fill the tank, we tip the water out, fill the tank with this, and this is called wetting agent. And all it is essentially is just washing up liquid. And that just kills the surface tension of the water. So it's like when you've got like a greasy washing up bowl, you put a bit of soap in it, it just suddenly makes everything disperse to the outside, isn't it? Same thing with this, it stops the water drips from hanging onto the film, so that basically it just keeps the film nice and dry. And that's it. And once we've put it in the wetting agent, we put it in there for about 20 seconds or so. And then we hang it in this drying cabinet just here. We've got some other drying cabinets in the other one as well, but just the white one here. We hang the film in there and just leave it in there to dry. We don't switch the dryers on. If we needed it urgently, then we would put the dryers on, the blowers on. But actually all that tends to do is just blow dust around everything. So all we do is just turn it, just leave it in the case so it's not getting too much dust. And then we just, once it's dry, we will cut it up into sections of 6 photographs, and each strip of 6 photographs we then put into one of these sheets here. We will then get into printing. We'll create what's called a contact sheet, which is like, so these are all negatives, and we'll create something that looks very similar, but it's called a contact sheet. It's basically the positive version of it. So that's what we'll be doing next week, is creating a contact sheet, so you can then choose which photograph you want to then process. Okay, but that's so similar sort of thing, but we're doing it in these trays here instead, rather than in the film tank. So any questions? Okay, so the books that I was showing you that are in that last week, that are in that locker in KO7. There's one in there which is called The Dark Room by Michael Langford, and it has all of this stuff in there. All of this stuff is ready for you to use. And these all go up in here. There's some shelves on the right hand side here where basically everything just goes to dry. And keep out the way. That's it.